All right, a little earlier today, I issued this statement on X saying that sprinting is way harder than running. And I want to sort of get into that a little bit. Now, it's not to in any way to diminish people that run that are successful out there. Some tremendously impressive athletes that can run very far and relatively fast. But running is a different thing than sprinting. You know, running has a different technique, running has a different level of stress on the body compared to sprinting. Sprinting is something that most people after age 30, 40, 50, whatever, are unable to physically do. Their musculoskeletal system will not hold up to the duress that the body is placed under doing an actual, full out sprint. Whereas running you can do with much less stress on the body. You know, again, over time, the cumulative load can be great, but the overall stress placed on the tissues acutely, leading to tearing of hamstrings and so on and so forth, is much higher in sprinting. And it's not that older folks should not sprint. It's just that the preparation that goes into that is, in many ways, much greater. You know, you have to develop tendon qualities, tissue qualities. You have to develop that capacity to be able to bounce off the ground. And, it's a much more aggressive style, as anybody, it should be intuitively obvious. The benefits are different. Obviously, sprinting is going to benefit you in different ways that running will. I would, my preference, I'm just going to say it's my preference. My preference is I would rather be able to sprint at a very, fast rate and have the tissue capacity to do that. I think that would give me, and many people, a better return on their investment compared to, say, slow running. Running, which again, I don't want to diminish those people that run. Running is fine, but it will hamper in many ways your ability to sprint. When you train yourself to run at, 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, something like that, maybe 10 miles an hour, it's going to be hard for you to run 20 miles an hour. It's going to be really hard, So it's a different overall beast. I think that, you have to have some good technical capacities. There's a lot of things that can, running, sprinting with poor form leads to injury. The intensity that's required with sprinting more likely leads to injury. And again, this sounds like maybe you shouldn't do that, right? I would argue you should do those things that get you the capacity to do that. Because when you were a child, you could sprint pretty easily, most of us without injury. And again, the more you retain those childlike capacities, I think the more successfully you will be at improving your quality of life, right? So the fact that if you can run and jump and spring and throw and climb as we age, then the aging is going to go a lot better. Whereas if you're limited and all you can do is sort of jog to some capacity, which is better than sitting. No, don't get me wrong, it's better than sitting, but I think you should aspire to, expanding your capacities as much as you possibly can. It takes a lot of work. There's potential for injury there, but if you do it in a very smart way, I think a lot of those things can be avoided for most people. Now, there's some people that'll never be able to sprint again. Maybe they're missing a leg or have a knee replacement, or and that's not an absolute contraindication, but there are people out there whose musculoskeletal system is so beat up that they'll never be able to sprint again. But for the majority of the people, that is not the case. Okay, something to think about. You guys let me know what you think.